Okay. Now we'll be discussing about the shunt faults. So shunt faults, when the path of the load current is cut short because of the breakdown of the insulation, we can say that shunt fault has occurred, and this insulation breakdown can be due to the over voltage, which can be internal or the external. And internal over voltage is due to the switching, and the external over voltage due to the lightning. And the weakening of the insulation, it can be due to the aging, temperature, rain, hail, or snow, and the chemical pollution. Now, let us consider a figure. Here we have the, let us consider here we have one diagram. Is it visible to everyone? Is it visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, here in this case, you will see that
Sir,
what
no,
kind of
sir.
a fault is occurring in that. You have read about the faults in the power system. What kind of fault is there in this case? In this case, we have the, here we have the line conductor, here we have the insulator, and here we have the ground wire. So what kind of fault is occurring? Yes,
Sir,
yes.
Line to ground.
Okay.
sir, there is a different window.
Yeah. So what happens that this is the line conductor. Current is flowing through this conductor. So what happens that because of the ionization of this path, it will not oppose it. In this insulator will not oppose it because of the ionization of this path, and the current will flow from this path to the ground wire. And as a result, what we are getting.
Sir,
Yes, yes. Batao.
sir, there is a different window on our screen. Sir, please, you can minimize it.
नहीं मतलब आपको कौन सी विंडो दिख रही है इसमें?
सर यहाँ पे सर यू आर प्रेजेंटिंग फिर सर नेम्स ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स.
अभी दिख रहा है देखो.
नो सर.
बाकी लोगों को दिख रहा है?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
तुम एक
Yes,
काम
sir.
करो, उसको दोबारा
Screen
से
दिख
ज्वाइन
रहा है.
करो, उसके बाद हो जाएगा. ठीक है. So in this case, you will see that the type of the fault is line to ground fault. Now, what happens that these faults are due to the insulation flashover, and many times actually temporary in nature. Because if what we do, if we de-ionize the path of this current by interrupting the electrical supply, then for a sufficient period of time, then the arc does not restrike. So what we do, we attempted the recloser here. We attempted the recloser here. Recloser, what we do, we close the supply for some time. And when we close the supply for some time, then what happens that the this path is de-ionized. This whole of the path is de-ionized, and as a result, sometimes it will not restrike, and as a result, the fault is cleared. So it is known as the recloser. So the process of interruption followed by the intentional re-energization, we called it as the recloser. So sometimes you will see in your homes that sometimes you will have this. Sometimes the light is off and on. So they are attempting the recloser. Some fault is there, the fault is cleared in that very case. If we see that in the low voltage systems, the maximum of three reclosers are attempted. In the low voltage systems, maximum of the three reclosers are attempted, and after which, if after the reclosing still the fault is there, then in that very case, what is done? The breaker is locked. The breaker is locked. So in case of low voltage system, it is three reclosers are attempted. So this actually what the recloser is doing, this recloser helps in burning out the object which is causing the breakdown of the insulation, which is causing whatever the object is causing the breakdown of insulation. It may be, it can be this because of the atmosphere, it can be a tree or something is there. So three reclosers are attempted in a low voltage system. However, in a high voltage system, in an extra high voltage system, only one recloser is attempted. Only one recloser is attempted. It is due to the, you can say that damage due to the short circuit may be very large and the system stability is at stake. So this is all about the this reclosing. Now we have the short circuit. Short circuits, it can be of two types. Short circuits, it can be of two types. Is it visible? Visible hai abhi screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you see, short circuits. Now the short circuits, it can be total or it can be the partial short circuit. It can be total and it can be partial short circuit. And the total short circuit is also known as the dead short circuit. Okay. So short circuit can be total or the partial short circuit. And how we total means that the resistance through that short circuit is equals to 0. Now the partial short circuit, if you take the case of the partial short circuit, it can be modeled by a non-zero resistance in parallel with the intended path of the current. Let us suppose that we have the intended path of current here. So partial short circuit means that resistance is not equal to 0 in that very case. So resistance is not equal to 0 in that very case. So it can be represented in parallel with the whatever be the intended path of the current. So sometimes what is there that in the short circuit is actually this short circuit resistance is actually the resistance of the arc path. If you see, it is the short circuit resistance is the resistance of the arc path. If you see this diagram, you will have this diagram. In this diagram, you will see that this the resistance of the arc path. So sometimes this is the resistance of the arc path is actually the short circuit resistance. Now, one more thing is there in that metallic fault. So what is the metallic fault? Have you heard about the metallic fault? Anyone? So metallic fault. So what is a metallic fault? But metallic fault means that if the entire of the load current, let us suppose that we have the load current which is flowing through this, and then for faults occur at that particular point, at this point, let us suppose, then if the whole of this fault current will flow through this path, then we can say that this type of fault is known as the metallic fault. Now, early researchers, they have actually developed the models for the arc resistance. And one of the model that is developed by Warrington. So one of the this arc resistance model, it was developed by Warrington, and it is given by RAC is equals to 8750 S plus 3 UT divided by I into 1.4. So in this case, this is actually the arc resistance, the empirical formula. And in this case, you will see S is the spacing, whatever be the spacing. U in this case is the velocity of air. T is the time in the seconds, and I is the current in amperes. Now this is all about the what are the short circuits and how it occurs. Now this is the part of the actually shunt faults. Now effect of the shunt faults. Now let us discuss the effect of the shunt faults. Let us consider a system. Is it visible to you? Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, let us suppose that if the power system consists of, we have the generator and we have the load, if the power is like that and without any interconnection. Now, in that very case, the steady state fault current would not be of much concern. Let us suppose that if we have this voltage is 1 per unit, and then this XS in this case, let us suppose that it is 2 per unit. Then in that very case, the steady state fault current is, let us suppose instead of XS we have the XD, then the steady state fault current, what is the steady state? How much fault current would be there in that very case? Kitna fault current hoga? If the fault occurs in an isolated system, how much fault current is there? 1 divided by 2 equals to 0.5.
5. Yes, sir.
Okay. So it is very small. This value is very small. So it is too small to cause any worry. So why we are considering the system in per unit? What's the significance of the per unit system? Can anyone tells me the significance of the per unit system? What is the significance of per unit system? Anyone?
Reduce the calculation.
हाँ, कैसे करता है कैलकुलेशन, कैसे वो करता है? What it is doing? Why we need the per unit system? Why the per unit system is required?
तो सबकी बेस वाले डिफरेंट होती है, तो सेम कॉमन करने के लिए हमें जरूरत पड़ती है. ट्रांसफार्मर किसी और वोल्टेज पे वर्क कर रहा है और हमारा लाइन किसी और वोल्टेज पे वर्क कर रहा है.
Okay, good. So let us suppose that we have the transmission line, and then we have the let us suppose that we have the transformer, and the change will occur. Let us suppose 11 kV is there, and then we have the 33 kV. So the basis for the two different cases is different. So what we do, we have to whenever we are doing the calculation, we have to change from one base to from this base 1 to base 2. So what we do, instead of taking the this different bases, we take the whole of that particular base. And in that very case, if you see, the transformer is simply, when we are taking a whole of the base, the transformer is simply reduced to the inductor. So we can simply take the value of the value of the transformer as an inductor. So transformer is reduced in that very case to a inductor only. And also, if you see that the values of these lies between very small range. Let us suppose that system has a 0.95 per unit, and then you have the 0.99 per unit. So exactly you will know, because everything is in per unit. Let us suppose this is the voltage in per unit. So you know within that range, it is small range. You exactly know that how we differentiate between the two. Otherwise, what we have to do, suppose the system is working in 11 kV and other system is working, suppose this is working 11 kV, this is in 33 kV. If we are considering the voltage, then we have to convert from one base to another for the comparison purposes. So for that, one base is considered, and that base is considered for whole of the system. Now, if we are considering the isolated generator, in that very case, the current would be very less. Now, let us suppose that system is interconnected. Now, in an interconnected system, let us suppose this is the subtransient part, this is the transient part, and this is the steady state part. Now, in case of the interconnected system, let us suppose that subtransient reactance, in that very case, let us suppose it is 0.1. The subtransient reactance is 0.1. Now, what is with the value of 0.1? What is the fault current in that very case? What is the fault current in that very case? If the subtransient reactance is 0.1,
10 per unit.
It is the fault current in this case is 10 per unit. Okay. And the steady state in this case, let us steady state direct axis reactance is nearly about 2 per unit. So in this case, the current would be very high. It is 10 times the normal current. Now, if the system is interconnected, then what is there, that all the generators, all the motors, they actually contribute to that particular fault current. And as a result, we are getting a very large value of that fault current. So we are getting a very large value of that fault current, that is more than 10 times of that fault current. So this fault will cause the heavy current to flow. And if we permit even this fault current for a very short amount of time, then we can say that they will cause the excessive damage to equipment and the personnel that are working here. So what are the effects of overcurrent? So if fault current increases, what are the effects of overcurrent? Can anyone say so? Explain that. What are the effects of overcurrents? Overcurrent क्या करता है? Anyone? हाँ बताओ. Anyone?
Sir, excessive heat produce करेगा.
Yeah, it causes the overheating. It causes the overheating. Okay, and which causes the deterioration of insulation. So insulation will be deteriorated. So which causes its weakening. And then we have the mechanical damage also. Let us suppose that we have this transformer is there. In the transformer, you will see that we have they suffered the mechanical damage due to the fact that two current carrying conductors experience a force. So when the fault current is very, very high, you can say that this force is out of bounds and it caused the mechanical damage, disruption to the transformer also. This is the second effect of that. Now, third one, it causes the, it actually affects the stability of the system. So anyone can tell me that how it makes the system unstable? How is it so? कोई बता सकता है? So what happens? Let us suppose that we have a generator, and then we have this transformer, and then we have the transmission line. Now let us suppose that some fault is occurring in this. Now we have here we have the mechanical power, and here we have the output that is getting out of that is electrical power. Now whenever the fault occurs, this electrical power is equals to 0. So initially the balance was maintained, that is PM minus PE is equals to 0. Now in this case, this term is equals to 0, and we are only left with the P mechanical, and as a result, the this rotor of this accelerate. It starts accelerating, and this alternator starts accelerating, and the rotor angle also starts increasing. The rotor angle also starts increasing. And as a result, let us suppose that this generator is there. In that very case, the rotor angle is increasing very much. Then we have some other generator in that particular system. Then it has a particular value of delta. So they start actually swinging with respect to each other. And if the swinging is very large, then in that very case, the alternators can be tripped out. So this is how you can say that increase in the fault current actually it will affect the stability of the system also. So overcurrent may affect the overheating of, it can cause the overheating, it can cause the mechanical damage, and it can affect the stability of the system. Now, what are the classification of the shunt faults? Let us discuss about the classification of the shunt faults. Is it visible? Everything visible, huh? So the shunt faults we have the phase faults. It can be categorized into phase faults and ground faults. Okay, so what are phase faults? First, we will discuss what are ground faults. What are ground faults? If suppose one phase is there and then fault occurs with the ground, so we can say that it's a ground fault. And phase faults, let us suppose that two phases, and if the fault is there within the two phases, however, it may or may not be connected to ground, then these are known as the phase faults. Now you will see, now we will discuss about the fault statistics. Let us suppose that we have the fault type. Then we have one more, probability of occurrence. And then we have the severity. So what are different type of faults? Can anyone tell me what are different types of faults? कौन-कौन से faults हैं?
Line to ground, line to line to ground.
और एक और है?
Triple L or triple L.
Okay, very good. Now, what is the probability of the occurrence? If you say the probability of occurrence of line to ground fault is 85%, okay? And line to line fault, the probability of occurrence in this case is 8% only. Then other one, the line to ground fault, the probability of occurrence is 5% only. And then triple line fault, the probability of occurrence is 2% only. Now, what is the most severe fault in this case? कौन सा most severe fault है?
Line to ground.
Line, triple line.
This is the most severe, okay? And this one is the line to ground fault is the least severe. Is it okay? ये आप लोगों ने पावर सिस्टम में पढ़ा होगा?
Yes, sir.
ठीक है? Now, if you see the probability of the line to ground fault is maximum, you will see that the probability is 80%. Like let us suppose that some transmission line is going and then it is connected to some tree and like that some fault will occur. So the probability is maximum and it can be removed by the recloser. We are attempting the recloser and the recloser can remove it. Okay. And however, triple line fault is the most severe. Now, we will again discuss one more statistics that what are the with reference fault statistics with reference to power system elements. Now, let us suppose we have the power system element here. And then we have the probability. So first in the power system element, we have overhead lines, then we have the underground cables, then we have the transformers, then we have the generators, after that we have the switch gear, and after that we have the CTPT and control equipment. Now for the overhead lines, the probability of the faults is 50% maximum. For overhead lines, the probability of the fault is maximum, that is 50%. Then for the underground cables, the probability of the fault is 9%. For the transformers, the probability is 10%. Then we have the generators. The generators, the probability is 7%. Then we have the switch gear. The switch gear, the probability is 12%. CTPT and other control equipments, the probability is 12%. देखो जरा 100 हो गए total. Is it 100?
Sir, please repeat once.
Now, we will discussing about the power system elements. ये पीछे वाला आ गया fault type. The fault type, the most severe is triple line fault and the least severe is line to ground fault. Now we have the different power system elements and what is the probability of the fault in these power system elements. So the maximum of the times the fault is maximum in case of overhead lines. That is 50% probability is there. Okay, is it okay now? ठीक है? Then we have the underground cables, the probability is 9%. Then we have the transformer, the probability is 10%. Generators, the probability is 7%. Switchgear, the probability is 12%. And CT, PT, and control equipment, the probability of the fault is 12%. Now, from this, you will see that the maximum of this time, the fault will occur in case of this overhead lines. So maximum, whenever the fault occurs, they will search for, engineers will search for the overhead lines, that where the fault is. If the fault occurs, let us suppose that PGCL is operating some transmission line, that they will search for it, that there where the fault is occurring, because the 50% probability of fault is in the overhead lines. It's actually a statistical data that is calculated over over different years, and then they find out this conclusion. Now, how the severity of the fault can be expressed, how you know that how the fault is severe. So what is the measure which can be used for measuring the severity of the fault? Anyone? Which measure is used for the severity of the fault? Anyone has any idea?
How many circuit breakers it has tripped?
No. Okay, that is another part. No, actually, let us suppose that we want to make a protection system. We want a measure. For that, we make a protective system. What is the measure that is generally used for this protection circuits? What measure? What thing is used for the protection circuit? That how we know the fault has occurred? Anyone?
Fault current, sir.
Huh?
Fault current.
Yeah,
Fault current.
So fault current is the measure which is actually used. That because that it depends upon that how much the magnitude of the fault is. Severity depends upon the how much magnitude of the fault and how much magnitude of the fault it is, and what is the potential and its potential for causing the damage. Okay, and what's its potential for causing the damage? What's the potential and what's the magnitude and what's its potential for causing the damage? How the damage will cause. So severity of the fault can be expressed in these terms. So as you have seen that in the power system, this line to ground fault is the least severe, and the triple line fault is the most severe. Now we can start after some time.